All right, the keys. Other than really, to me, it's a Jayden Daniels versus Justin Herbert. The guy who makes the most plays and the fewest mistakes, his team wins. You can say that about a lot of games with quarterback, but especially on Sunday. Number one, Washington wins this game if they let Jayden cook, but they don't forget to protect him. And what do I mean by that? Not just protection in terms of max protect or making sure the offensive line does a great job or making sure, they don't make mistakes with their running back in pass pro. I'm talking about running the football on Sunday, running the football against a team that will sit back and let you run the football on occasion. Last week, Cam Scattaboo, who really has looked sensational as a rookie, 25 carries, 79 yards. Singletary, 28 yards on 7 carries. The quarterback, Jackson Dart, in the run game, 10 carries, 54 yards. The Giants rushed the ball. You want to talk about protecting a young quarterback in his first start, of course. 42 rushes, 21 pass attempts in the game. They won the game 21-18, but they rushed for 161 yards in that football game. You go back to the Denver game. J.K. Dobbins, I talked about him yesterday. In the game that Denver lost in a thriller at SoFi a couple of weeks ago, J.K. Dobbins, 11 carries, 83 yards. Their big problem in that football game is the Denver defense, which is very good. They got dominated time of possession-wise. There was a massive play difference. It was like 80-48. The Chargers ran 80 plays, and Denver only ran 48 plays in the game. Not because Denver turned it over. They did not turn the ball over at all in that game. They had a bunch of penalties, which hurt them and derailed drives, and led to them, punting 7 times in the game. But they were there, and they ran the football against the Chargers. You go back to week 2, the Chargers, in a Monday night game against the Raiders, they were better against the run, but it's because the Raiders didn't really try to run the football. They dropped Geno back all night long in a game in which they did get behind by 2 scores. I think Washington has to think about what they did against the Raiders in week 3. And that is protective of Jayden. It will still allow Jayden to be him. You got to let him be Jayden, meaning he's got to be a part of the run game. Jackson Dart was a part of the run game last week. Bo Nix was a part of the run game. You've got to threaten that defense, especially when they're sitting in that too high and saying, go ahead, run the football. You've got to be able to run the football. And with John Bates back, maybe they've got a better chance to do that. Maybe they still have a couple of offensive formations with Trent Scott as a 6th offensive lineman and eligible. They don't need it as much with Bates back, but they could still go to that. Run the football Sunday. Protect Jayden, but let Jayden be a part of it. If he's not able to be a part of the run game, if he's not able to go off schedule as a passer, he shouldn't be playing. Number 2. Washington beats the Chargers if defensively they are much better than they were last week in the trenches. And against the Chargers offensive line, which is definitely compromised with injury, this feels like an opportunity like the defense had against the Giants and the Raiders. I'm talking about in the trenches. Now, the skill position players are much different, much better than what the Giants had in week 1 with Russell Wilson at quarterback, and even what the Raiders had in week 3. Not to mention those were home games. But I think this is a game where your D-line has to play at a high level, and I think it has a chance to. Now, Duran might be, banged up. He played a poor game Sunday. Steve Suter thought he was sick or injured, that he was so out of it on so many plays, easily blocked. The effort he questioned, and maybe it was because Duran was playing hurt. And if he is out, they have to go to, their backups, including guys like Johnny Newton, to get it done. They've got to be much better up front than they were against Atlanta, and they may have the opportunity to do it. So I think Washington wins this game if up front in their defensive line, they win in the trenches. They get off double teams, allowing Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu to make easier tackles closer to the line of scrimmage. Washington's been a decent run-stopping team. Now, Omarion Hampton, the rookie out of North Carolina, had his best game last week against the Giant defense, but it wasn't a lot of carries. Just 12 carries for 128 yards, but that is over 10 yards per carry for the rookie from North Carolina drafted in the first round at number 22 overall, Omarion Hampton. He was not my favorite back in the draft, but he's looked pretty good here to start the season. They've got weapons. They've got Keenan Allen back. They've got Ladd McConkey, who has not had a great start to the season. Quentin Johnston, who couldn't catch a cold his first few years in the league, is catching everything this year. They've got weapons. They've got a quarterback, but you've got to win in the trenches. They have the chance to take advantage of a compromised Charger offensive line, and Kinlaw and Armstrong, if it's Newton rather than Payne, they've got a chance to be disruptive. If they're not disruptive, they're going to give up way too much offensively, and it's going to be a game that they would have to win in a shootout. I'm not sure that's the game you want them in, and I think Sundays there is an opportunity to win at the line of scrimmage defensively. You know, it could be Goldman, it could be Newton, it's got to be Kinlaw. And if Payne plays and he's healthy, he's got to play better than he did last week. Next, simplify it on the back end. Please simplify it. I cannot watch another game, especially given this is the best offense you faced. This is the best group of playmakers. It's the best quarterback you face. They also can run the football. They're also well coached with Harbaugh and with Greg Roman as the OC. All right. They will figure out what you don't do well and they'll attack it. Simplify it defensively. If that's bend, don't break, fine. See if the Chargers make mistakes. See if the front four can get pressure and can stop the run. And you guys can play more zone coverage, eyes on quarterback, everything in front, which leads to the next thing. You've got to tackle better than you did. And they've got guys that will break tackles. Hampton can break tackles. Tyler Conklin, their tight end, will break tackles. The kid 86, Gadsden, will break tackles. Keenan Allen, not a tackle breaker. Ladd McConkey, tough sometimes to get to the ground. You've got to tackle better defensively. And then lastly, and this is, the typical cliche, but you've got to win in the other areas of the game like turnovers and special teams. And Washington's got a chance to win on special teams. They've been an outstanding kick coverage team. Tarheeb Still, by the way, as a punt returner, is dangerous. Still was a Maryland corner. He is a dangerous returner. He's a dangerous corner at times, a bit of a risk taker. And they've got a great kicker in Cameron, Dicker the kicker. He's an outstanding kicker, 100% on the season, on field goals this year, already 8 for 8. Last year, he was 39 of 42. This guy is good, has not missed a kick, hasn't had a kick blocked. Washington's going to have to match that. Field position will be important. Turnovers will be important. But to me, it comes back to, is 5 ready to play the way he can play? If Jayden Daniels is Jayden Daniels Sunday, after what the Chargers went through last week with their offensive line troubles, I'm going to take Washington Sunday to win the game. I'll give you my final score prediction with a footnote at the end of the show. But I think that they can win this football game. I think it's one of those games, too, where early in the game on defense, I think we'll get a feel for, is the result going to look more like Giants-Raiders, or is the result going to look more like Packers-Falcons? And to me, it all starts up front. They have to get off double teams. They have to stop the run, which they've done a good job at. And they've got to be able to scheme up some pass rush if the front four can't get there. This is an opportunity. It wouldn't be an opportunity if the Chargers were healthy along the offensive line. But like the Giants, who were banged up in week 1 without, Andrew Thomas, like the Raiders, who had troubles along their offensive line and were missing their best guard in that game. This could be an opportunity for the defense to look better. I don't think the defense is a good defense. I think we're going to learn that over 17. But this is one of those opportunities, and maybe the only opportunity they'll have against a really good quarterback, a really good receiver group, a good running back to actually perform well, because the Chargers are right now flawed in a major way up front. And we saw that against the Giants. We're not the Giants defensively, but you got to play much better than you did against Atlanta. I like the opportunity. I'm going to take Jayden over Justin Herbert, but you got to run the football this week, Cliff. All right, not fancy running football. Let's go at them, especially if they're going to sit back in too high safety. I mean, they'll walk Derwin James down, and he is got to be accounted for, no doubt. But when they're sitting back there saying, go ahead, let's see you run the football, take the invitation and do it.